The NFL Combine got it wrong. Lewis Bond should be there. It's a shame that he has been snubbed.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I've been covering Boston College for over a decade. If you're looking for Boston College news, analysis, and details on your Eagles, you are in the right place. Locked On Boston College is a free daily Boston College podcast available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. On today's show, I'm going to give you one observation of the opponents BC is playing next season. Something I kind of noticed about the schedule. I'll explain what I mean by that at the end of the show. There are two official visitors locking in today. I'll explain who those are and why I think those are big gets for BC to get on campus. And let's kick this off with Combine talk. Now, I'm not getting into the numbers. We're not getting into all of that. But on Wednesday, 3 Boston College players were officially invited to the NFL Scouting Draft Combine, or the Draft Combine, in Indianapolis. This goes on from February 23rd into March 2nd, I believe, at Lucas Oil Stadium, where they've had it for the last couple of years. Obviously, the Combine is a big opportunity for players to showcase their skills, their attributes, and talk and interview with NFL scouts and personnel. The good news. Let's start off with the good news, then we'll get to the bad news. The good news is 3 Boston College players will be at the Draft Combine. You're going to have offensive tackle Jude Bowery, offensive lineman Logan Taylor, and edge rusher Quintavius Hutchins. So the good news with all 3 is that they're going to get a chance to show off. Now, let's start with the one that we always knew would be there, which is Jude Bowery. Now, going into the season, it was projected that he was a high draft pick, and I think his draft stock has got hit a little bit, with the injuries and not really the best Senior Bowl. You think around now, maybe 3rd or 4th round with him, but he is an athletic offensive lineman. And so this is going to give him a chance to showcase that. I think for him, the Combine is only going to help because he has those measurables that are going to get NFL teams salivating. So Bowery is one. The next is Logan Taylor. For him, he's a versatile offensive lineman that can play inside or tackle, has played all over the offensive line for BC, did not have a great Senior Bowl as well, but his versatility, I think, will showcase why he's there, because teams love getting, roster players that they can play anywhere on up and down the line. So Logan Taylor hits a lot of that. He has some questions he's going to need to be able to answer. And so these workouts are going to hopefully give more data that will help a guy like Logan Taylor open some more eyes, because the Senior Bowl didn't really help him. Honestly, for Taylor, he struggled there, and he needs to have a boost in the right direction. And the Combine will definitely do that. So he's the second one. The third is Quintavius Hutchins. Now, if there's any player that is draft eligible for BC that has seen his stock skyrocket, it's Q. Q watching him, I think for a lot of BC fans are going, where the heck was this during the last season? Because he looks like the heir apparent to Donovan Azaraku, like explosive, a pain to cover, like a pain to block. Making big plays, making sacks. He was everywhere during the Senior Bowl. And, a lot of draft scouts did not put him on their, MVP list, but he was right up there. He did a lot. Now, the knock on Q, and we had this when we talked to Mitch Wolf on the show, is that he's smaller. He's 6'2". You don't usually go for edge rushers that small. I mean, even look at what BC is doing right now with guys like Demetrius Ballard, who's 6'6", and the kid they just brought in, Braylon Otis from class of 27, 6'5", Alex DeGreek, 6'5". Like, edge rushers are getting bigger and bigger again. So that's going to probably, hurt him. But if he is as explosive as he looked in the Senior Bowl, a good 40 times, some good edge rusher drills could really help him a lot. So those are the three that are going to go. Now, that's fine. That's great. I'm glad they're going. The last name that we need to talk about is the one that didn't get to go. And this is the news that I was absolutely shocked about. And I think this is not travesty because it's not the right word. It's kind of a disgrace that they could not find a spot for him. That's Lewis Bond. Lewis Bond did not get an invite to the NFL draft combine. And that's ludicrous. He was one of the top receivers in the ACC. If you're looking just in terms of conference receiving, I think he was third. Yeah, he was third in yards per game. He was third in receptions. He was fifth in receiving yards. And if you take out guys that are not going into the draft, there's only two other guys in the ACC, a Power 4 conference. He should be there. This is a guy that needs to get those measurables out there, that needs to get a 40 time and run some drills and get him in front of scouts and GMs because they're going to fall in love with him because Lewis Bond is an incredible person to talk to. This is a joke that he didn't get invited. You're one of the best wide receivers in the country in terms of just doing things and doing it consistently year after year after year, and they can't find one spot for him. Come on. It's ridiculous. Like, you could make the argument Q Hutchins shouldn't be there because, he's an undersized offensive lineman, or Logan Taylor because he struggled in the Senior Bowl. I'm sure teams, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, teams put in names that they want there. It's such a shame because if that's the case, then people aren't paying attention enough to Lewis Bond. Run blocking, route running, he does it all at a high level. And the fact that he's not getting an invite is a joke. So what's next for him? It's Pro Day, BC Pro Day. So that means, right around when they're practicing back for the spring ball, they'll have scouts there and he'll practice with a whole bunch of other guys. Most of them will not be draft eligible. While the three that do go to the NFL draft combine, I'll probably do like one drill and then call it quits. That's what he's going to have to make his mark at. And it just doesn't have the same buzz because you don't hear about BC. As far as I can tell, you don't hear about BC players catching the scouts' eyes at Pro Day. They may see a few things here and there, but for the most part, the guys that are at the combine are the ones that they're going to want to go for. So this is bad news for Bond. This is bad news of him being drafted instead of most likely now I would think he's on the outside looking in. But whatever NFL team takes a chance on him, they're going to get lucky because, he didn't do a whole lot in the Senior Bowl, but as Mitch said on our show, he's a good, solid running wide receiver who loves to block. Coaches love that kind of stuff. They're gonna go for him. You just got to give him a chance. And unfortunately, the NFL draft combine is not giving him a chance, and that is a shame. Shame, NFL draft combine. Get better. All right, in a moment, talking some recruiting. 2 official visits are already in. Just as I was saying yesterday that things were getting quiet, we got some big news to talk about. I'll explain who they are and why I think these are both big deals. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, certifications, and location. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. That's what I like about Indeed. You get specific and target exactly what you need. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Let me shout out my everydayers. All my everyday club people out there that have signed up, you're getting bonus content. I've put another episode out on Wednesday night. You're going to get another one this afternoon. It just keeps coming for you. We have bonus shows. We have texts. I just gave an injury update on Donald Hand that I just sent out to all my text message people. We've got great content. If you love your Boston College and you want to take it to that next level, this is a perfect opportunity. You get all that great BC Locked On BC content here. I hope you sign up today. Now, we're going to talk about official visit season. We're skipping ahead over the spring visit schedule and jumping right into the official visits because honestly, I said before, and I've said a few times that January in years past has been a time where BC brings in some recruits on campus, shows them around, takes unofficial visits. Again, this is on the players and parents' dime, and shows them BC. And they did not really do that this year. And I've said this is a great idea because unless you are growing up in this area, who the heck wants to see 2 feet of snow go visit a school when it's like 10 degrees out? There's no reason to bring a kid from Georgia up here or a kid from California. It doesn't make any sense. So it was a surprise when I first saw that 2 official visits started coming up. Now, first of all, their graphics look great. They're different. They have Gas and Hall in it, like right in the middle. It's a different style than they've used in the past, but I like it. I like the style of the official visit graphics. You can go see it on Eagle Insider, see what they've created. Those are pretty cool. But 2 names came up. The first, listen, I have not set a crystal ball for this guy yet, but I probably just should because the first name that's taking official visit is Jet Watson. He's from Grayson, Georgia, class of 27 cornerback. And if the last name sounds familiar, it probably should because it's Kenyatta Watson's son. Kenyatta Watson's the general manager. You guys all know that. He's in charge of, doing a lot of the roster stuff for BC. And his son is a high school senior. Now, his younger son, I believe, played it for Georgia Tech and Georgia State, but he's gone. I think that was Kenyatta Jr. Now you have Jet. Jet's a 3-star cornerback, 6'1", who has offers from North Carolina State, Kansas State. He has Indiana, UNC, UCF, Arkansas, and Auburn. Now, one name you should probably just take off the books is Auburn because that was his dad offering back then too. But I get the sense that BC must probably be in really good shape here because his dad's up here. His dad's on the staff. I imagine that he's probably going to end up at BC. It'll be my thing that I'm going to be interested to see. Does he take other official visits? That could show me that this is just that he's actually out there looking, or is BC just a foregone conclusion? I honestly don't know. I don't know what advice he's getting and where things are at, but I would think that he's probably going to end up at BC. And it's interesting because you have Mac Fitzgerald on your roster. He's the son of Craig Fitzgerald, the strength and conditioning coach. You have Kalen Chudzinski, who's the son of Rob Chudzinski, who's a senior analyst and probably will have a bigger job next year. You have Hawken Anderson, Kurt Anderson's son, who is not an official visit yet, but it's coming. He's an offensive lineman from Suffield Academy in Connecticut. So the family of coaches, it's starting to really, really build up on this roster. There's a lot of them. And maybe Jet Watson's the next one to commit. Now, he's coming the weekend of June 5th. Now, official visit weekends, I believe there's a weekend before June 5th that they're going to have people on. So it's like the 28th, the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th. And then it stops around the 22nd. It's a dead period from there until the start of the season. So they have their 4 weekends. They're going to probably get 10 to 12 recruits on each weekend. So we'll be talking about all of them. Jet Watson's the first. Again, Grayson School in Georgia is a great high school, one of the powerhouses in the country. So he plays for a good program. And obviously, the offer list shows that he's a guy that is much more than just Kenyatta Watson's son. This is a talented recruit that has a lot of big offers. The second name is Xavier Bala, who is from St. Anthony's School in New York. He's a 27 running back who is about 200 pounds, ran for 1,300 yards and 24 touchdowns as a junior. He's got a finalist of Virginia, BC, Nebraska, and Syracuse. And BC gets the first official visit on his schedule so far. Um, Now, it's important to note that Bala has a crystal ball in from Nebraska, but that crystal ball's been in there for about, I feel like 6 months. I'm going to go look it up right now. Where is he? Bala, this prediction came in December. So it's not that it's 6 months, a little bit more of an exaggeration, about 3 months, right? So, Nebraska's the leader right now, but Mike Hart visited Bala at his home last month, right when Hart took over, and things are back to being strong. Like, the fact that he's taking an official visit to BC is big. Like, I just figured, I honestly thought he was off to Nebraska. I thought he committed to Nebraska. I swear, my mind's racing right now. I swear he had a commitment date, and maybe he just didn't do it. I remember seeing that on 247. But again, he has a huge offer list. Usually, listen here. Let me get you his offer list: Nebraska, Alabama, Virginia, Syracuse, Ohio State, and Illinois. Like, 2 recruits already that you're having on campus with offer lists that are, let's be frank, blow away anything that you had last year. It's not even close. So that's a good sign. Watson has said he's going to try to, he's working to improve the caliber of players here. If that's what you're bringing in, that's a really good sign. Now, last week you brought in Braylon Otis. His offer list wasn't huge at all. He had UVA, and that was about it. But as I said, you get a few guys that you like early, and the meat of them that you come get along later. If they're all this caliber, that's a great signal that your recruiting is heading in the right direction. So I think you'll get more. I don't expect, BC's had some relationships with kids. Bill, O'Brien and maybe even a Watson have relationship with kids that maybe before they even take an unofficial visit, they can get them up here. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the Georgia and Florida kids might skip the unofficial visit to go just right to an official visit. Because if they have to pay to get up here, you have to make quite a bit of hike. The unofficial visits a lot of the times are New Jersey, Pennsylvania, probably out to about Ohio, where people will pay for it. But you only see a handful from like California, Florida, Texas. They usually want to go where they get paid to. I mean, the staff pays for them to go. So I think that'll be something interesting. So if there's a lot of Georgia guys that Watson has opened the door for, I would expect more so that they may just go right to official visits. And that to me means more surprises, because it's not just following a linear step there. So 2 official visits are in, 5 committed so far. All those 5 guys will probably all take official visits as well. So those are about 7 guys so far. We don't know the dates for anyone else other than the 2 that have been named. Now, in our final segment, I was just looking at the schedule for football, and I noticed a trend, and I want to talk about it in just a moment. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part has always been so simple. It's been hard. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast, without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. I love being able to see the all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkouts. Being able to see the view from the seats before buying made the decision easy. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app, and remember, it's GameTime.co, not GameTime.com. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here of Eagle Insider. Thank you all who have made Locked On Boston College your first listen. And if you're looking for a second listen, go check out Locked On ACC with Kenton Gibbs and Alex Dono. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I love thinking football. I love looking at the schedule. Like the day that it comes out, it becomes like my obsession for the next 6 months. I'm just looking at it, like trying to like look at all the nuances and things maybe I've missed, because obviously there may be like, oh, I wonder who Notre Dame's playing the week before they play BC. Could that be a trap game? Is there a look ahead game? All that good stuff. Now, the latest thing I like to look at is the caliber of quarterbacks that you're playing. And when I looked at BC's schedule, for the most part, one thing really stuck out to me. The BC, the end of their season, they're playing a lot of really good quarterbacks. I'll get to that in a moment. But they do start off with a slow start to their schedule in terms of playing good QBs. For the first 4 games for the month of September, they're going to play J.C. French the fourth, who's a transfer from, I believe it's San Jose State. Georgia Southern, excuse me. Georgia Southern. You playing him. Then you're playing the always dangerous Dylan Larnigan at Rutgers. You play Maine. Maine's got their main quarterback. And then you play Ethan Grunkmeyer from Virginia Tech. That's not necessarily a murderer's row to start your season off. You've got Larnigan, and we saw the ups and downs that he has. J.C. French the fourth, he's jumping up a level. So you have that there. And then Grunkmeyer really did not do a whole lot with Penn State either. That's 4 quarterbacks right there to start your season off that you need to take advantage of, because when you look at the rest of your schedule, when you look at the quarterbacks coming up, it goes Kevin Jennings, you have Mason Heichel from Pitt. We saw what he did to BC last year. Then it gets a little easier because you don't know what Duke has. You have Austin Daniels, the Auburn transfer at Florida State, and you have CJ Carr, then most likely Steve Angeli and Darian Mensah. So that last month from Daniels on is pretty tough. You have some really good quarterbacks. So I really look at some of these games that you play lesser quarterbacks, whether it's, J.C. French or whoever Duke has, even Austin Daniels. Those are the kind of games BC's going to have to take advantage of. And I just look at it really like as the season goes on, that quarterback play and the teams that you're playing against just gets better and better until you play that month of November and you're playing potentially 4 good quarterbacks. Now, of course, injuries could happen. That's goes without saying. But I just look at this defense. It's a good opportunity for them to settle in, to get better before you get to that end of the season. It's not I think the worst thing that could have happened for BC is to get an early game against, I don't know, even like Steve Angeli. Angeli may be still hurt at that point, but Kevin Jennings. You need some quarterbacks that you can beat. And all 4 I just mentioned to start this off are very beatable. They are. And I think I'm just talking from a positive perspective. Obviously, the games need to be played. But that month of September, those quarterbacks that you're playing, you need to set the tone and get your players comfortable with Ted Roof's system, with getting after the quarterback, to clear up some of the issues that really plagued the defense last year, to show, hey, this defense is going to take that step forward. This defense is going to get better. Because once you hit that tougher part of the schedule, the training wheels come off and you really have to play better. Now, again, I'm not saying they're going to win all 4 of those games. I'm just saying when I look at the quarterbacks, it's an opportunity for them. When you're in comparison, when you're playing Darian Mensah or you're playing CJ Carr, that's a lot tougher. And it's a harder ask to say that a team that just went 2-10 is going to beat them, right? I look at these other games and say, Austin Daniels, Ethan Grunkmeyer, maybe there's a chance there. Maybe this is where BC can find their groove. So that's my thoughts. On tomorrow's show, we have another episode actually this afternoon. We're going to talk all about the Stanford BC basketball game. I'll get into that. If you're not part of the all every day or all access club, you need to join up. I have a special episode that I'm going to talk a little bit about recruiting coming up that just popped out last night, and so much more. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Sign up, to be part of the Everydayers Club. Become more involved with all Locked On BC. We have a great community here, and I'd love to see you all be part of it too. So thank you all, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every